don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street. There's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Oh, well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. It is the 321st episode of the Political Spotlight. I am your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey, and happy Halloween, everyone. Normally, on Halloween night for the last 2 years, we would take a step back from the politics and we would do a little bit of a spooky venture into some Halloween territory and talk about spooky things with the Halloween Scream Queen, Mary, my friend Mary Nicholson, from down in Henry County. However, because everything in the entire world is going crazy, we are not doing that tonight this year. We're going to bump that to this weekend. Mary and I will do our third annual Halloween episode, but it will be later this weekend. We just could not tear ourselves away from what's going on politically. And I did an absolutely horrible thing and was not able to get this shared out to everywhere. So I'm currently in the process of getting this sent to the few and far between places that I need to get it on social media. We are going to be talking about a lot of Muncie, Indiana specific things this evening, just right here at the beginning. But I do want to let everybody know we're also going to be talking a little bit more, just a wee bit more. I know everybody's probably sick of it, but we're going to be talking just a wee bit more about the Madison County stuff, just because I received a record today that I feel like we need to address, just even if in passing. And then we're also, of course, going to talk a little bit about Sheriff Sproles. Sheriff Sproles made his Halloween appearance on Fox 59 tonight, and we need to talk about that. Of course, I talked to Steve Brown, who was the investigative journalist doing that piece, and we did our story on this back last Sunday. And they covered it as well. And so we're going to be talking about that. So we'll do a little bit of Sproles Watch. And so we're going to do that. I'm trying to figure out what is happening with the computer right now. We're having a couple technical glitches here. when all of a sudden here it looked like I started downloading some kind of update to Grammarly. So I don't know what's going on with that. Do you know why people couldn't vote today and tomorrow in Muncie? I am unaware of that. What are you talking about? Can you explain to me what you're talking about? Or can you point me in no, Steve Brown from Fox, not WMDH. That wrong Steve Brown. That's probably a pretty common name. Can you point me into the direction of maybe a post or something that you're talking about there, Tweety Bird? I would be interested. No one actually contacted me about this, and that's something that I feel like I would have heard. I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I'm just shocked that I'm not aware of that. If there was something going on. Also, other big news as we're talking tonight, the state has rested. The state has rested in the Delphi murder trial. So now it will be time for the defense to pop up to the plate and do their thing. So it'll be interesting. While we're here just at the front of the show, do want to remind everybody that we could really use your finger. And by that, I mean, give us a like, hit the thumb, or do whatever it is. Feed the algorithms. If you could give us a like, we would appreciate it. We're here doing what we do, so you don't have to. We want you to get involved and be involved and get educated, but we try to bring this to you so you don't have to keep your eye on everything going on. So I'm trying to find Tweety Bird. I'm trying to find something from the clerk's office or anything like that. I don't know. Someone took a photo of a sign on the door saying no voting today or tomorrow, but they will be able to on Saturday. Let me send a message actually out to someone that might be able to give me a little bit of a heads up on this. And while we're at it, while we're just doing some nonsense here, I do want to tell you that someone texted me and said that they might have enjoyed the JD Vance appearance on Joe Rogan better than the Donald Trump. And I will say, yeah, absolutely. Vance has been absolutely slaying it with the interviews and his appearances. Donald Trump has not been doing a bad job when he goes on these shows, but Vance is a little bit more polished in the delivery and doesn't do the whole weave meander thing nearly as bad. So yeah, I could absolutely think that. Yeah, that's amazing. I have not watched or heard any of it. It is on my to-do list. I hope that I'll be listening to it tonight when we get done with the show, so we can talk. I can at least talk intelligently about it here in the very near future. Okay, let me send this message out here to I'll tell you right here, this will do it. Let me send this message out to Rick Spangler real quick, and we will find out why we could not vote today. If anybody else can has any information on that, that would be very interesting as to why that would be. Man, that's very disheartening to hear that, because early voting has been smashing. It's really been going crazy. So I don't know if that was an all day event or just for a period of time, but I think that would certainly be a horrible thing to find out that they were not doing early voting today. Today it's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. Man, I mean, if they're not doing it for the whole 2 days, that'll be bad. So I give you my word, if we're not able to find out by the end of this live program, I will know tomorrow what's going on, and we will discuss it. Tomorrow's Friday. We're normally off on Fridays, but folks, we only have 5 days until the election. So I've not talked to Kate about this. I don't really know, but I have enough stuff that honestly we could probably do show tomorrow, a show Saturday, and then rock right on through till Sunday. Now, I've not talked to her. I don't want to ask her to do that or tell her we're going to do that. So I will be here. Maybe Kate will be here. We'll see. We'll talk. We'll find out about that. And the reason I say that is because today, at the very end of the day, I also received quite a large record request dump from John Brook from the county. All right, Niles is at the Indy 1500. So that also means if you know anybody that's in the market for some pew, 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 or pew, pew seeds, then head on down that way and see Niles and the crew down there at the Indy 1500. That's always a good time. Damn. I need to try to get down there. Last time they were down there, I didn't go, but I need to try to get down there. Yeah, Saturday might be the day for that. Well, anyways, so I think we will be here on through till Election Day, more than likely, and then we'll take a break next week after everything is over. But we'll talk about that more at the end. I do want to let everybody know that I did receive a very large records dump and I'm not saying that derogatorily. I'm not saying that. I'm not being derogatory when I say that. I mean, I requested the information and they complied, and they complied in buckets. So I requested back on the when did I actually send this in? Does anybody truly know? Let me look right here and see. I believe that I sent this in on the 19th. No, it would have been like the 18th. And so this was the records request for all of you that might not know. This was the record request that was pertaining to the Westdell school situation. And so this, we actually did the show on 3 weeks ago. I cannot believe it's been that long ago. October 10th, Thursday, October 10th. So that means on Friday the 11th, I actually submitted a record request to the county. And I'll talk about that here in just one moment, sir, because I talked about that while I was there. So I made the request on the Westdell situation, and I requested a bunch of information. Here is what I requested: all documentation from Kyle Mealy and or Westdell Community to Westdell Community School Corporation to the Delaware County Commissioners about needing help with their wastewater facility. All documentation and meeting minutes of the meeting of the commissioners where they voted to give Westdell the $400,000, and the minutes of the meeting where it was decided to pull that money back. So that's what I requested from Westdell. Then I also requested any and all emails or other documentation from IDEM to Danielle Struble regarding the Westdell wastewater situation. Then from there, I also requested the packet of information that Struble provided to the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission before or after she addressed them at the June 20th, 2024 meeting. I then requested all documentation, emails, notes, documents pertaining to the situation with Westdell and their wastewater issue, period. Their hope for help from various county boards, commissions, or bodies in running line from Gaston to the school and or 28 and 69, or their hopes for a Band-Aid fix and all other documentation from the school or school board or corporation to any Delaware County boards, commissions, or bodies. And then I requested any and all responses from the commissioners, the Delaware County Regional Wastewater District, the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission, the Delaware County Board of Health, and or any and other Delaware County government boards or bodies that would have responded to this. A copy of the letter from Larry Batt to the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission, as well as any communications that responded back to him, and all other information that has been sent to any county board, commission, body from IDEM, the school, and or any concerned citizens or anyone else in connection with this situation. Man, thank God it wasn't the city, because the city wouldn't allow that. The city would have been like, nope, you need to break that down into that would have needed to be like 6 requests to the city of Muncie. And if it was a request to Madison County, they would have just said, to hell with you. You're not getting anything. So one thing I got to tell you, I went back and forth with the Delaware County government as far as their record request, but they have really stepped it up in the last little bit. So they gave me all of this, and man, they were badass, because they gave it all to me on a flash drive. And not only is it just any flash drive, but it is a flash drive that has their name on it. It's like embroidered or embossed, not embroidered. It's like embossed with their name on it and everything. It's like really state of the art, amazing. So they're like marketing over there. They know what they're doing. Anyway, I want to thank them for that. I did have communications about other requests that I feel as though have gone unanswered. And the communications I got back was that they completed and compiled and completed everything in response to my request, that I have no outstanding requests with them. And I don't believe that. I'm not saying that they're lying. I'm not saying that I'm not calling them a liar, because I do issue a lot of requests. I get a lot of information, and there have been times that things have kind of fallen between the cracks. So I'm going to take some time in the next couple of days, and I'm going to look through this and find and whatever. And then if I don't find their actual hard copy of their records, I will then go to the emails and look and see what the chain, because I don't ever delete any emails like this. So I will see what I sent and if they sent anything back, and we'll go from there. But it'll be interesting to see. Did they drop the ball? Did I drop the ball? If I drop the ball, I will admit it, and I'll take my lashings, and we'll move on from there. But I will let you know about that, because King is going out. We've only got a couple more months with him, but I am still concerned about what was going on there. And, I would like a response. I know Alva definitely wants to know what was going on in Vegas. I think almost he's wanting to live vicariously through them. Honestly, we'll have to see. I don't know. We'll find out. Ask them to resend it. Yeah, that would be the easiest way. Generally, what happens is the county has normally either sent through email, or they have done things like this where they provided flash drives. And I have my other 2 flash drives that they have given me. And those flash drives, I know for a fact, do not contain anything about Vegas. All right, moving on from there. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to talk about the city of Muncie. So we're going to focus right now on the city of Muncie and what they've got going on there. It's been a couple days. We've been stuck in Madison County, and there have been some things occurring in in my hometown here in Muncie, and they're really important. So basically, the last thing that we all have been aware of is back last week, the communications director, Amber Green, sent out, this was 6 days ago on Friday, October 25th. She sent out a press release that we covered here on the show, and I posted on my social medias. And just as a little refresher, it basically said that the budget was approved with cuts made by the city council being employee pay. The only cuts with city council being employee pay. On Wednesday, October 23rd, the city council approved the 2025 city budget. Thank you to the city council for your efforts. The council did add 2 separate budget amendments. Technically, they added 3. They added one, which was a paperwork amendment, and then they added one that was a reduction amendment, and then they added the third, which was the zeroing out the three positions. They said that the First Amendment, which is actually the Second Amendment, they cut $437,090 from the budget, and they broke that down basically saying the public works, the street funding, they cut $151,501. EMS, they cut $73,599. Police, they cut $104,024. Firefighters, they cut $43,362. City court, they cut $12,000. Animal control, they cut $8,473. And then apparently they made some other unknown counts to 8 other departments, but they did not list those. They go on to say that the finance chair, Nora Powell, had notified the controller via email about the proposed cuts the morning of the meeting, and then the email response later that day, which was sent to all council members, again discussed at the meeting. Craig Wright, the city controller, indicated that there was no need for these salary cuts, and that the city employees, due to the revenue adjustment and interest income, they would be fine. The additional revenue item and amounting to $470,000 was first shared with the council during the September 25th finance meeting, when the administration noticed the error. The revenue item for 2025 was communicated to the state and accepted. The second amendment by the city council, which was actually the third, was a complete surprise. The vote count was 6 Democrats in favor and 3 Republicans against the cuts. This amendment eliminated 2025 funding, which means they will not be able to pay them out of those funds, for the Deputy Mayor, Richard Ivey, Deputy Controller, Matt Wegley, and Communications Director, Amber Green. The cutting of the funding in 2025 for those 3 very good people, which is how the press release ordered them, and dedicated public servants, was unwarranted. In Mayor Ridenour's opinion, the administration was not communicated with all about these job cuts. The city council has every right to reduce the funding, but they cannot increase spending on line items. The budget approval and oversight is their job and responsibility. Granted, however, these 3 good people provide vital services to our citizens and our team. They are well respected within our community and do good work. And those are all, again, the words of Mayor Dan Ridenour. The city of Muncie is pleased that the budget process is over for 2025 and is now complete, and we can move ahead. In addition to seeking opportunities for the 3 unfunded employees, and even with these cuts, as your mayor, he commits to continue the momentum that is occurring in the city. I will tell you that when that went out to the public, to the media, to myself, that I was told by two different sources within City Hall that there was a little bit of a hubbub over whether or not the mayor was going to be able to sign off on the budget without having to call the councilors in for a special meeting, because the funding was actually wrong. In one area, they defunded the controller rather than the deputy controller, and then there were a couple of other issues. Okay, thank you, Tweety Bird. That being said, they also said, so that was there. So there were some issues. Now, they didn't end up having to call a special meeting. They could just go in there and they could fix it. It was just a Scribner's error, basically, so it wasn't a major ordeal. But that left me going into the weekend and then going into this week, realizing that, wait a minute, the mayor has not signed off on the budget. So I was like, what's going to start happening? Well, I mean, we got to get there. So I didn't know if this was like some kind of trick that they were playing. I didn't know what was going on. So I kept waiting for something to happen. I kept waiting for like us to get notified that, yes, we are actually going to sign off on this, because normally they make kind of a big deal about that. And they let everybody know, like, yeah, okay, today, today's the day it was officially signed off on. And that we just weren't hearing that. Well, then, interestingly enough, at like 4:30 yesterday, the community update hit the city of Muncie's communications page and the old City of Muncie Facebook page, which we all came to know and love and now basically hate. Nobody visits, nobody looks, because there's not a reason to look, because you can't go in there, you can't comment, you can't, it's just absolutely pointless. So this got posted to the city's page yesterday, and I don't know if anyone's was aware of this, because it didn't look like many people watched it. So we're going to go through this, because this is basically an 11-minute like diss track, an 11-minute hate monologue from Mayor Dan Ridenour and Nora Powell. The name of this week's, or not this week, like I do a weekly episode of show. The name of tonight's episode, ladies and gentlemen, and it's for the first time I put the overlay in here, is Ridenour v. Powell, the beginning, Ivy resignation, and more. I feel safe in saying that Nora Powell has been setting things up to make Ridenour look like they are basically dumb. Now, it's not Nora making Dan and his team look dumb. It's they have done some dumb things, and she has like set it up and allowed for them to show the world, and she's kind of helped them with that. Now, please do not believe that this is me saying, oh, Nora's fantastic. I do not like Nora. I am not a fan of Nora. When Nora gets something right, I will applaud her. When she gets something wrong, I'll call her out. This is a situation where I don't like basically any of these people, and I just want them all to do what's right, and I want them all to not be dumb, and I'm not really sure that that's happening. I didn't want Nora to be on the council again, but Josh Talby was a horrible candidate. He didn't run a campaign. That's why he's no longer in the clerk's office. That's why he's now something, he's now got a department head job for the city of Muncie. That election basically changed his whole life. It ended his relationship with the county Republicans, and now he's on Team City Republican. It's very strange. But I'm not a fan of Nora. And I don't like what goes on. I don't like that the rest of the council people don't really participate. They make her seem like she's the star of the show because she's the only one really doing anything. And so it is what it is. So Nora has been starting this fight for a long time. For the first time, however, Ridenour has stepped up and said, I'll play ball with you. So wait till we see this. If you guys haven't heard this, this is pretty crazy. When I say this, folks, it's Ridenour's level of like being angry. So it's not like nearly anybody else because he's basically a robot. But all right, let's listen to this.
Hello, I'm Dan Ridenour, Mayor of Muncie. Wanted to talk to you about the budget that the council approved just a few days ago. I have some challenges with it, but I've had a number of people who were fearful that we were going to veto it or thought that maybe we would veto it. I'm going to explain to you, I did sign the budget. It is moving forward, and I want to explain to you why I didn't veto. So we're going to spend most of it, in fact, all of today's update about the budget that the council made those unexpected cuts. The reason I cannot veto it in my mind is, number one, it takes us back to the 2024 revenues. And in 2025, we're expecting more revenues because as we continue to build things in our community, the revenues go up, and that provides us to the funds that we need to do more services. If we veto the budget, we revert back to the 24 budget, which sounds fine, except you don't get the revenues that you would earn in 25. And you have to revert all the salaries back to the 24 amounts. The reason I cannot veto the budget and go with the 24, the main reason is that it would cause about 51 of our civil employees to have to lose 10% of their pay. And that's because we did an increase for people, mostly AFSCME, but other civilian employees. We gave them an extra 10%. We did send the paperwork to the council, but by vetoing the budget and going back to 24, that was not in the 24 budget. And so all of those employees would have to lose 10% of their pay. And I'm not going to do that to the employees of City of Muncie. I think we've done a good job this year. I think we've handled a lot of streets. We've handled a lot of other issues in our community that are helping make our city a better place to live. I'm not going to make them take a pay cut. Now, what the end result of that is what the council put out. They made some cuts at the end that took away 3 people's jobs. And so those 3 people are the challenges that we have. So rather than protect those 3, we're going to protect the 51 is why I went ahead and signed the budget. Now, I will say that I have received this letter from the deputy mayor. And it's a resignation letter, and I'm going to read to you part of it. I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but I'm very proud.
I'll read you the whole thing. We don't have the whole thing. I did issue a records request, and we'll see how long it will take me to get this. Literally, it's in his hand. It's on his desk. I mean, it's like we see it. We see it here. This was Wednesday, like about 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. I know sometime around whenever they did it. We see it. It's in his hand. So it's not like buried somewhere in their vault, in their archives. And I requested this like within a short period of watching this. So I've requested it, and they should be able to go get it. And like I should have it already. I don't. We'll see how long it takes them to get it to me. Because this will be something I will bitch about. If it takes them, like I should have it tomorrow. If matter of fact, if they don't contact me, if I'm not contacted by like noon, I'm going to call and start griping because this is something that I should have. I should already have it, but we will go over it when we get it. But he's going to read this here, but we're not going to talk about Ivy's resignation. This is still going to be part of the whole Nora, Ridenour Nora thing. We will double back and talk about Ivy's resignation after this point, but I just want you guys to hear that. And so he's going to talk about this now, but we'll double back and I'll give you my thoughts on it here in a moment. So let's continue on here.
proud of Richard Ivy. And he's the type of individual that we need in our community, one that looks at the greater good and not at this area or this area. He looks at what is the greater good. Let me just read part of his resignation letter. It is with heavy heart that I have decided not to be a financial burden on the administration, to fund my position. This is due to the cuts from the council. It would devastate those organizations that have come to rely on edit funds to continue their positive impact on the city. I choose not to participate in their potential demise and have decided to embrace a new opportunity. So we have found Richard another position within the organization that we will officially announce in the next couple of days. But I'm very proud of Richard, and that is the type of individual he is. And quite frankly, that's the type of individual that all three of these employees who got cut are. And I'm just really proud of that.
Bro, where you been at? Where have you been at, America's Councilman Ryan Webb? I announced this 12 hours after the council meeting. So the council, I'll just dip into this for a second. The council made their cuts on Wednesday, the 23rd at 6 p.m. By 9 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, the 24th, I had posted saying, wait a minute, Richard's looking for a job at the Muncie Sanitary District? Like, he's just going to bail out? All right, I'm going to work the Sanitary District. So I had heard this, and I had made the comment back on Thursday that this had happened. And then yesterday, the mayor announced that he resigned. Now, I have requested this resignation letter. Hopefully, I'll have it soon. As I said last night when I first brought this forward for the second time, I don't know if this resignation letter is like immediate and like he's going to start working in the sanitary district, meaning like now. I don't know if it's like a 2 week, like I'll give you 2 weeks, I'll start working. I don't know if it's like a month, or I don't know if it's like I'll continue working as deputy mayor through the end of the year, which that would make sense unless the sanitary district says, hey, we need you now. So that's that. Now, Dan has not announced that he's going to the sanitary district. They're going to announce it in a couple of days. I'm telling you, he's working at the sanitary district, and that's what it's going to be. He's either going to be the administrator or he's going to be the HR director. I guess he could be something else that they make for him, but I don't see that. I think he's going to be the HR director. So that's that. All right. We'll cover more about Ivy here in a minute. Back to Dan taking his shots at Nora.
But I'm saddened that he won't be deputy mayor, but he will still have an influence on our community and will still be in this building. So what I want to do is I'm just going to go through some of the issues that happened with the cuts. So we received this information the day of the meeting of what these expected cuts were. And quite frankly, it all came from the finance chair, which is Councilperson Nora Powell. We received no other communication from other council members on this. It all came from her. But if you look at this, we've got $14,031 cut from the controller's office for various situations. $713 in the clerk's office, the mayor's office, $1,887. One of the most challenging things is there's cuts of $73,599 for EMS, and the fire department is $43,362 for the firefighters and $20,688 for fire leadership. There is no reason for these cuts. We showed the council, we showed Nora, we showed the council that there was plenty of funds to cover all of this income. All they had to do was count the interest income that we put on the budget, added to the budget, and there's more than enough to cover these. Now, the challenges with this budget is it was not calculated properly by the finance chair. What was left off was, so essentially how this worked is she utilized the 23 budget, which was done in October of 22. It did not count any positives that anybody's career may have had from October of 22 to October of 24. She just applied a flat 11% increase for the 2-year period of time. But people, we have a number of different ways where people can increase their salaries. So there is longevity. So if somebody had a longevity period come up and they get an increase for extra longevity, she didn't calculate that in. We have increases for people who get promoted and maybe take another position. If you become a detective in the police department, there's additional pay. All those things were calculated in the budgets that we submitted to the council and in the budgets that we submitted to the state, but they were not counted or considered at all by the finance chair. So that's how there were there were over 100,000 in cuts between the fire department and EMS. That's how that happened. The same thing happened with the police department. And then also concerning is the fact that the street department or the public works department, it's listed on the budget as MVH, which is motor vehicle highway, but it's actually our public works department. They were cut $151,501. It's cutting out 3 part-time people. In fact, the part-time employees went from $72,000 to 0. So we now have 3 part-time people that we have to figure out what to do. And it also cut out the superintendent's salary, which that is an unfilled position at this point, but we had hoped to fill that position to help make our city even better. And we've made so much progress in 2024 in getting roads paved, roads improved,
superintendent
improvements.
Hold on, what?
What superintendent?
Okay, and you emailed me this earlier or texted me, and I didn't get a chance to respond to you. So the city engineer is Adam Leach. Before Adam Leach, it was Brian Stevens Hotop, and they do this weird ass thing where instead of having a city street superintendent and a city engineer, they combine the 2 positions, and they have the city engineer be the superintendent of the street department. Well, the whole time that Brian Stevens Hotop was doing this, it was a little funky because he was punishing people, firing people, and he was a contract employee, which is a no-no. You can't be firing full-time city employees in a union when you're a contract employee. That's insane. That's like the coffee man firing a police officer or some shit. So that doesn't happen. When Brian Stevens Hotop left, they took care of the problem because they brought Adam Leach in, and they put Adam Leach in, and he was a city engineer, but his like day-to-day job was being head of the street department. Everything's good and wonderful
So
and dandy.
it's a combo position, kind of.
Whatever they say. It's weird to me. I don't really know. Yeah, it is. Like, he's one guy doing like 2 jobs, and they pay from both. They're paying him from edit some. To me, it's the same thing. It's almost like the Green Goblin is in, which I don't know how they don't get in trouble with it. It's a little funky. It's been funky since Dan got elected. Yeah, you could say that again. So it's a little weird. Here's where then it gets weird again. Back, a year ago, he was going to step away because he got another important full-time job, and he was just going to stay on as a contract employee until they could hire the right person. Well, here we are like a year and a half later, and he's still around as a contract employee now in the exact same spot as Brian Stevens Hotop. But to your point, we do not have a street superintendent. We have Adam Leach, who is the city engineer and quote unquote is the superintendent of the street department as a contract employee.
Okay.
How does that now factor into what your question was about this? What was the actual question about it?
It just is complaining about them defunding a position that hasn't been filled for a year because he's got a guy on contract he's been paying out of edit.
On edit, yeah. It's
So
very,
I'm not
it's very
sure
strange.
what the,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
it's
like,
not like they were spending the money and lost the money. It
mhm.
wasn't being spent anyway.
Dude, that is an amazing shot of Dan Ridenour. Hold on. I got to screenshot that. That is amazing.
He looks not good. He looks like he's sick.
Yeah, dude, that's amazing. That is going to
No,
be.
I mean through the whole video. I mean,
yeah. I just mean that picture right there. That dude looks like. That's a great shot right there. I love it. I got to get it. Hold on, because that'll be a great thing for Canva in the near future.
Oh Lord.
That being said, so yeah, that's what the deal is. It's very weird, that's one of his gripes. And I want to say about this.
Then why didn't you just say city engineer? Because that's how it's listed in like everything.
Yeah.
Except maybe in the budget.
Right.
All public record, it's the engineer.
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing as street supervisor.
Yeah, right. Well, because listen, the thing is, it's not about telling the truth, or it's not about doing what's right. It's about playing this kind of weird ass game that they do where it's all a little fuzzy. Nobody really truly knows what's going on. And we only tell you once it's all over, once we get caught, or, something hits the fan, so.
Well, I mean, he started right off with, I decided not to veto it because it would have taken us back to last year, to 2022 or whatever he was yammering about. And that's not true either, because you called and asked what would happen if he vetoed it. And they said, well, if he vetoes it and it's past the date, as long as they do something by their first meeting, it would be like they turned it in on time.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So that's not true either.
Yeah. Stop. I want to make sure everyone is aware of this. I want to make sure everyone is aware. Dan was in a sticky situation. He's not vetoing the bill, not because he's out of the greater good, which I think at some point in here, I might have been sleeping because I've now heard this 5 times, but he might have even said it. If he didn't, he's getting ready to say it's for the greater good. He says the greater good like 3 times. And I'm like, dude, that's creepy. Quit saying it. But whatever. That being said, I want to make sure everyone's aware. He didn't do this because he's some altruistic, amazing person. If he would have vetoed the budget, the council would call a special meeting or just go into their meeting on the 4th. They would bring the budget back in front of them. And as long as they had a 2/3 majority vote, which they do, 2/3 of 9, I'm not a math expert, but 2/3 of 9 is 6. So as long as 6 Democrats would show up and vote, then they would pass the budget again. If he vetoed it through inaction, which is the other thing that he could do, not veto it, but just not touch it, it would act like it was a veto, and they would then just go into their meeting on the 4th, and they would bring it forward, and they would vote on it, and it would be happening. So he had to go forward with it because his hands were tied. This is very disingenuous of what he said here. I wish he would have told the truth, because here's the thing. This is the thing. I don't trust Nora. Nora is normally pretty good with numbers. I'm not saying she can't make a mistake, but this is not what he's saying here, folks, is not like looking at the law and having 2 different attorneys read the same black and white writing in the law, but there's 2 different interpretations. This is not like, well, is abortion good or abortion bad? Second Amendments, or, this is not like I have a perception issue. There is a true and factual side to this. And we don't know yet, or I don't know yet, but time will tell. And one of 2 things is going to happen. Nora is going to be right or Dan is going to be right. It's not going to be a mix match. One of them is going to be telling the truth and one of them isn't. And
have you done a record request asking for comms between?
So that was the other thing that you had texted me today, which is a great thing. I have not done that, but I'm going to. I have that written down as soon as I saw you said that.
You're going to ask for comms between Nora and the administration and Wright. Because she said in the meeting that she had sent all this stuff to Craig Wright and he'd never gotten back to her.
Yep. And
so she just assumed it was good.
And I don't know. Yeah. And again, I don't know who to trust in this situation because I don't like any of them.
Right.
But I will tell you, I know that Nora, if you ever, anybody out there, and I've told people this, and I don't know if they didn't believe me or whatever, if anybody ever has to deal with Nora Powell, she has this thing where she likes to do all of her.
The same thing Dan does. She stretches the truth a lot.
Well, yeah, that number one there. Yeah. But she does all of her emailing between like 11 and 4 a.m. So it's not uncommon for you to go through your entire day and not get anything from Nora, but then for you at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to get 2 or 3 emails from her. So it might be a situation where Craig doesn't get her emails until the morning, but you still have to answer them and be truthful. And I could see him just not responding, kind of being a dick and saying, I'm not going to, whatever. And if that's the case, that's on him.
Well, and then it's on Dan too.
Yeah.
Because when did they finally get the budget?
At the September meeting.
So they have the September meeting, and then they have to set up budget hearings.
And
then they have to have another meeting to approve it. I mean, that's a month and a half process.
Yeah, right.
So
yeah.
I mean, if he would have gotten it to him in July, like he promised when he ran in 2019, in September, he could have said, I'm vetoing this. I have some things I would like you to consider.
Yeah.
And maybe worked some of this out. It wouldn't have been this like huge time crunch where we've got 7 days to submit it to the state.
Yeah. It's always this thing.
I saw Jeff and I was backing you, man.
What?
He said, I just said that, Kate.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But not everybody gets the comments, so I'm going to open my mouth.
Absolutely. No, I think it's great. Well, and again, so people don't think that we're just, lying or whatever. I get sick of playing this, but I'm going to play it just so people can hear it. Again, it's 21 seconds of Dan lying on himself. Here we go. God, now I got to listen to it again. All right, hold on. Here we go. This is Dan Ridenour in campaign mode when he's a counselor and he knows all of this. This is campaign Ridenour on September 28th, 2019, telling you what he will do if he's elected mayor.
What I will do is I will present a budget to the city council in July of my vision of what I want to do. And then I want to work with the council to help make sure that fits what they're wanting to do and make sure it's a sound budget that can be sustained long-term. What I will do is I will present a budget to the city council
on September 5th. So let's just remember, he has never done that. He's never submitted the budget before September. Maybe the last week in August once. And yeah, he's never worked with the council. That's the other thing. He does not, working with the council is not something that he is like all about. So This is Dan. I mean, it is what it is. All right. Let's continue on here and listen to what he's got to say here, because he's still Mr. Crazy.
And just not thrilled at all about cutting $151,501 from this department and all 3 part-time employees. Other things that came through is there's $17,089 in deductions to the Parks Department. Some of those were not even we weren't made aware of until the meeting, and when the numbers were read off by the finance chair, it included cuts, of $6,558 to our park superintendent, Carl Malone, $4,989 to our urban forester, Kelly, and to George Foley, the program manager, $4,631. These were not made aware of to us earlier in the morning, but were part of the cuts read by the finance chair that evening. We don't understand that. But I'll tell you what, we're going to live with these cuts, and we're going to continue to make Muncie move forward. Now, I have seen a history of challenges. I will tell you, I served on the council from 2016 to 2019. And this is very similar to what I saw occur in 2019 for the 2020 budget. In that particular one, and I went and got the minutes, and it's interesting read. It's 36 pages. I'm not going to go through it all now, but it's very interesting that in that particular budget, that the same finance chair now, Miss Powell, was the same finance chair back in 2019 when this 2020 budget was done. And the complaints were very similar. There were complaints by Mayor Tyler. There were complaints by the fire chief. There were complaints by the street superintendent. There were complaints by human resources. There were complaints by citizens. There were even council members were saying we didn't get this information. Now that budget got turned down, but in those minutes you'll find that there were problems even in 2018 with the budget. The finance chair has not done a very effective job, in my opinion, and she's putting the city at risk. But I guarantee you, as mayor, I guarantee you, we're going to continue to move this city forward. We're going to find ways to continue to fund some of these positions. We're going to have to restructure in some other areas, but we will continue to do the good things that we've been doing in our city around public safety, around streets, and with our parks. I would encourage the council to consider in January, when they do the committee chairs, to not have Ms. Powell as that finance chair. The last 3 budgets that she's been involved with, 2018 had an issue that the state had to change. 2019, when I was on the council as well, I voted against that budget. It failed, but they had changes and there was not good communication, just last minute changes by the council, the finance committee. And then here in 24 for the 25 budget has just been a very disastrous, in my opinion, budget. And I'm just really frustrated, disappointed, and hate to take up this whole update, but I want to let you know we're not going to veto it. We're going to continue moving on regardless of this budget. And we're continuing to try and find positions and ways to keep our employees that do good work for our city and continue to move forward. So I'll talk to you next time on the update, and see you then.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, listen to me. That is, Dan was at Mr. Hot Pants there. Woo. All right. Yeah, it sounds like he's just talking about he's going to do things. And, I would say the council needs to look for that. Now, listen, he might have a legitimate reason to be upset. I'm putting this out there right now to the people of the Ridenour administration. Listen to me. You Wegleys, Ivy, people that work with these people, around these people working in the controller's office. For those of you that normally are not my sources and normally do not communicate with me and don't tell me things, and you see me as the bad guy, this is a very interesting opportunity to maybe do what's right for the citizens. If you have proof of what Dan is saying. If you have proof that Nora hasn't done these things right, or she's been wrong, if you have proof that, everything was going to be okay in 2025 and we didn't need all this cut, don't just sit around with your thumbs up your ass, sitting there saying, well, I wish this stuff would get out. I wish this would. I've heard that Dan actually says this. Well, I wish this was the kind of stuff that would make it, into social media or onto podcasts. Ring, 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 ring. Hello? This is Christopher Bilbrey. Dan Ridenour has my phone number. Shireen Wagley has my phone number. Communicate. Hey, guess what? Tell Amber to give me a holler. Amber knows how to get a hold of me. Reach out. You can contact me. I won't burn you. I won't tell them that you did it. We don't ever have to give your name. You can hate me, but listen, all those things that you don't like when I broke the news that Richard Ivey was going to get a job at MSD 12 hours after the council did this. When you guys are all sitting up there thinking, damn it, how did he know this? Bilbrey's posted it. The meeting just ended and Bilbrey already knows. It's because people talk to me that I don't report back to you and tell you, hey, so-and-so told me this. I just say, I heard this. I'll do the same thing with you. So if the council is out of pocket here, and it's very possible they are, I'll help you. This also goes out to Rose Selvey. It goes out to Dale Basham. It goes out to Jeff Green. I don't know. Jeff Green, I don't know if he's got electricity going at his house. I don't know if he internets or not. He's really strange. So 2 or 3 of the Republicans. If you guys have proof that the Democrats are doing something wonky, hit me up. We're all on the same team. Let me know. I'll report that. Okay? Because I'm telling you, Dan is telling the truth here, or Nora is telling the truth here. It's not like they're both, Dan is looking at the 6 and Nora's looking at the 9, and they're both telling it from their perspective. That is not what's happening here. Dan's looking at a 5 and calling it a 5, and Nora's looking at a 2 and calling it a 2, and one of them is right, and the other is wrong. Now, why are they wrong? Well, maybe it's a misunderstanding. Maybe it's nefarious. Maybe it's being done out of mischievousness. Who knows? But there is someone right and someone wrong. So we need to get to the bottom of that, and I can help you. I will help you do that. So look, I'm going to get it one way or another, and we're going to find it, and we're going to talk about it. But this is very interesting because Nora has been taking shots at Dan. And this is the first shot Dan has taken back at Nora. So I gotta be honest. I kind of like this from Dan. I'd like to see him get a little bit more fired up. I just can't trust him until we get some information and know the facts, because, well, he's Dan Ridenour, and I've not been able to trust basically anything else he said. So, I don't trust Nora. I don't trust Dan. I have to see it for myself and go from there. Now, I do want to talk briefly here about Ivey's resignation. Webb brought this up. I don't know if he's still here or not. But yeah, Ivey has resigned or has turned in a letter of resignation. I don't know how I feel about this. I've always said, person to person, man to man, I like Richard. I like Richard Ivey as a human being, as a person. He's a cool dude. With me, he's always been cool to me. He's always been cool with me. Never had a problem with him. I don't like him as the deputy mayor. Dan Ridenour lied to the city council about hiring Ivy, just flat out lied. Like, probably one of the most egregious lies that Dan has done. Like, just, he told them one thing and they like came at him a couple different times in the meeting, and they were like, now listen, we will fund the deputy mayor position, but it has to be somebody whose specialty is the Muncie Redevelopment Commission. It has to be someone whose specialty is economic development. Like, we'll do this, but it has to be this. Dan's like, oh yeah. And then 14 days after they funded him, 14 days after they had voted yes and it was done, Dan announces that back up. 14 days, Kristopher H. Bilbrey, right here on a different program, but still right here, broke the news that Dan had tapped Ivy to be his deputy mayor. And people are like, no way, Ivy's on the city council. That's not going to happen. You guys are nuts. There's no way. And well, guess what? Yeah, it turns out that actually did happen. So, it is what it is. Not a big deal, but I was right, and he hired him. And then the very first thing I thought was, wait a minute. What does he have anything to do with economic development? And so that was a weird little deal. And so, I don't know. So that was like one of his big lies, and it was Richard Ivy, and it didn't. And then when Ivy was sworn in and they did all of that, Ivy comes up to the podium and he's like, now I'm going to do the day-to-day of the mayor, and Dan's going to do like the bitch work. He's going to do the secretarial, and he's going to do the economic development. And that's when we heard that, wait a minute, not only did he lie that he wasn't going to hire someone that was going to be the deputy mayor, he was going to do the economic development stuff, which really honestly put him at odds with his role as mayor for the entire time he was doing that. It was a very weird thing. I honestly believe that's why most of the trouble that we've had, like Brick Red Systems, everything with Southway Plaza, all of the weirdness that has happened, Michael's deal where they got him down and to like Miami or wherever they were, Mississippi or whatever, and they were having him walk through apartments that they didn't even own. All that weird shit was because Dan Ridenour was running around playing economic development guru, and he knew nothing about it. And so that's what we get. So I don't know. Ivy's resigning. I like Ivy. I don't think he did a whole lot as deputy mayor. I just don't think that he did very much to begin with. I think he just basically does like some odds and ends the mayor wants. I've heard people say that he has really bizarre hours, meaning like he's not in a lot. It is what it is. I like that the mayor says we found a place for him. Well, I mean, the only reason, the mayor doesn't hire for MSD, so they hire their own people. Ivy has experience with HR. I imagine it probably doesn't hurt that like the mayor's like, hey, will you guys take him on? I don't know that he's going in as the HR director, but it would make sense because he's done that in the past. And that would be really the only thing that does make sense, because I don't think he has any understanding or, knowledge about the sanitary district. I don't think he would do well as the administrator. So time will tell. I don't know what it is he's going to work for, but that is where he is going to work. So when you hear it, when they release it, just know you heard it here. That's what he's doing. So we'll talk about that at that time. But so, yeah, Ivy is no longer going to be the deputy mayor. And it's not going to be like he's going to sanitary district and but he'll still do some stuff. No. When this happens, he's done. He no longer works for the city of Muncie. We will not see him at council meetings. There'll be no reason for me to email him. Like, he's like, thank God, I'm not going to have to hear from Bilbrey anymore. He will be like a totally different new person over there. The only time I would deal with him is probably never, because I can't think of another time that I've ever dealt. Like, I've never went to the city of Muncie's HR department, who used to do the HR for them, to ask a question about sanitary district. That's just not something we do. So it makes sense for Ivy, because now he doesn't have to worry about elections or whatnot. He's there until they either fire him or he leaves. So, he can get in his time, do his thing, and he'll be good to go. So that's that. There still are 2 other jobs that Dan is going to have to do something with. That is obviously the deputy controller and the communications director. I know that there's a lot of people that do not like Amber, but I will tell you that at least for now, Amber has been a plus for Dan. She has made some things better. I understand that there's people that don't like various aspects about her. I get it. She's a lightning rod. Her and I just got into a great big scrap the other day. But it is what it is. And I won't ever let something go. If I feel like I need to push back against her, I will. And I think she'll push back against me if she thinks that she needs to. Just so happens to be that she's wrong. And that is what it is. But I saw a book at the store called How to End 50% of Your Problems. So I bought 2. That's amazing. That's amazing. Keep Dan around so he doesn't try to teach finance at Ball State. Good Lord. That might be... Oh, God, I love it. Yeah, the attitude thing, man. I don't see that side from her. I got it the other day but normally I don't see that. And look, this is not something that I'm like, well, she doesn't do that to me, so whatever. Like, she shouldn't be that way with anybody or whatever. But I don't know how to. She is a thing unto herself, and I don't know how that. It is what it is. And hopefully, I was going to say something stupid, but I don't think that works. I was going to say, hopefully time in public service will show her, that she needs to soften her edges. Maybe it'll just harden her more. I don't know. Time will tell. But that doesn't mean people shouldn't be calling her out if you feel like, there's something she's doing wrong. Amber's very clear on what she believes is her work time and work side versus her personal time. And she's one of those people that says, like, when I'm at work, it's this. And when I'm at home, it's, all bets are off. And sometimes that doesn't work with people or whatever. I just know Amber and I have 2 different relationships. We have a friend relationship in which we do not talk work. And then we have a relationship where it is work. And I would say that the friend Amber and I get along, and really the work Amber and I don't. So that's it. I don't know what else to say about that. Okay. Moving on from there, we've got two big things that we need to talk about. One of them is an interesting little deal. So on Sunday, back last Sunday, we ran an episode on Sheriff Sproles, and we discussed the situation, just the absolutely unbelievable situation where you could have two people inside the Henry County Jail, two people in the unbelievable situation where you have two people inside the Henry County Jail doing the exact same damn thing to two other people inside the jail. And one of them does it to a level where it's like, okay, you shouldn't have done that, but there's basically really no harm, no foul. This is a learning moment. Don't do it again. That's it. The other one does it to a level where there is extreme injury and the person has to go by ambulance to the hospital and they receive like 27 plus stitches, and it's a big ordeal. But yet the lesser person gets, the lesser situation gets charged with federal charge, criminal charge, and is looking at like 10 years in prison. And the other person that did the more serious is just running around free. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. Nothing to see here. There's no problem. Don't worry about it. I can't wrap my mind around why something like that is okay. And so we covered this on Sunday. We talked about all of this. However, yesterday, I became aware of the fact that my good old friend, Steve Brown, a chief investigative journalist at Fox 59 in Indianapolis, was going to do a little bit of an article, a little bit of a piece on this whole thing. So I want to read this to you, and then we're going to watch the video. All right, the video is what I'm interested in. But let's read this. Let me show you this, and we'll go through this together. This is Sproles on Fox, or maybe it's more like Fox on Sproles. But all right, you're getting what I'm getting at. Okay. Guard charged after two shooting. Wait a minute. Guard. That's, I don't really like that. Guard charged after two shootings inside the Henry County Jail. Sheriff not charged. I guess I would rather it say after two shootings inside the jail, a guard is charged, sheriff is not. Because now it looks like the guard is charged after he did the two shootings. So I don't like that headline first and foremost. Okay? No thanks. Don't send me anything ever. No. Okay. Let's get some of this stuff off here so we can proceed. In an 8-month span, there were two shootings inside the Henry County Jail. Both involved so-called less lethal. I don't think that's accurate either. One of them involved less lethal. One of them involved non-lethal. There is a big difference. And less and non, just it's the devil's in the details. Both involved this ammunition fired at inmates. However, while a fired jail guard faces a federal felony count, the sheriff has not been charged. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Indiana announced last week that 27-year-old Curtis Dougherty is charged with a single count of deprivation of rights under the color of law. Federal court records show Dougherty has signed a plea agreement, which I wish he wouldn't have done that, at sentencing. He faces up to 10 years in prison. The criminal charge is in connection to the shooting of inmate Matthew Flick inside the Henry County Jail. In February, there was a search for contraband inside the jail. Flick and other jail detainees were ordered into a holding cell where they were searched. Each was patted down and instructed to sit on the floor facing the wall. In an interview while still in jail, Flick recalled to Fox 59 CBS 4 Daugherty yelling at him. He said, "Face the effing wall." I said, "I am facing the wall." And he shot me. I still got the bruise on my back. Now, he said that back like a week after the event. All right. He had a bruise on his back. A bruise. We've all had bruises, you know. The unprovoked incident was recorded on security cameras, body cameras as well. After supervisors reviewed the shooting, Daugherty was sent home. The following morning, his employment at the jail was terminated. Days later, Henry County Prosecutor Michael Mahoney filed a state battery charge against Daugherty. The federal charge for Daugherty was brought on October 15th. Now, it is important to note, per Sproul's own interview with Stephen Brown, he said Daugherty was not fired for the shooting. He was fired for using the F word. Keep that in mind. All right. The federal charge against Daugherty was brought on October 15th, but there have been no charges of any kind for a July 2023 shooting of an inmate by Henry County Sheriff John Sproles. Sproles appeared in the jail like an idiot, those are my own words, wearing a helmet and carrying a beanbag shotgun at the end of a frustrating 45 minutes for several jail guards. They had repeatedly asked Marquette Neal to return to his cell. Neal refused again and again until he eventually entered a cell in the jail holding area. Once inside, Neal, after demanding his property be retrieved from his assigned cell, began kicking the cell door. On surveillance video, Sheriff Sproles is heard telling Neal, "Hey, you kick the door again, you're going to get some rounds, okay?" Neal did not stop. A slot in the cell door was opened, and from a distance of approximately 2 feet, Sproles fired a beanbag round into the back of Neal's legs. Sproles again warned, "You kick it again and you're going to get another one." Over the span of 36 seconds, Sproles would fire 4 times. After each one, Neal would resume kicking the door. After the last round, Sproles said, "All right, we got some more rounds because we could go all night." At that point, there were wounds to the area behind.
He left out the woo!
Yeah. That's sad because that's the best part about it. That he was like literally getting off on it and making those weird noises. Yeah, it was crazy. You're right, Kate. That's funny. At that point, there were wounds to the areas behind both of Neal's knees. They were serious enough for Neal to be transported to the area hospital by way of ambulance for treatment. In a March interview, Sproles explained he intervened to maintain order and to prevent Neal from injuring himself. Of course, I can't let him shatter his ankle or splinter his shin bone on that door, or we are most certainly going to get sued, he said. Months later, Neal filed a suit against Sproles in the Henry County Sheriff's Office. During our interview, Sheriff Sproles also disclosed the FBI was investigating me. Now, folks, this is where this gets interesting. During our interview, Sheriff Sproles also disclosed the FBI was investigating me. You know, right here, we've talked about the fact that Sproles has said this a couple of times. However, he's never released anything. I've requested it, didn't get a copy. And it's my belief and the belief of a lot of you that if Sproles had this, he would be posting that everywhere. He would be talking about it. We would all be able to recite it forwards and backwards by now. Sproles, now listen, this is interesting because I've requested this through an official records request and never received anything. However, I'm going to try to get it from Steve Brown, see what this is. But listen to this. Stephen Brown says, Sproles even forwarded us an email, apparently. Listen to this. Forwarded us an email, apparently, from Special Agent Brian Monahan. Interesting. Apparently. From Special Agent Brian Monahan, informing the sheriff that after a review of their investigation, the U.S. Attorney's Office decided not to pursue federal charges. Fox 59 CBS 4 contacted the FBI Indianapolis office seeking to verify the email came from one of their agents, but a spokesperson declined to comment. So we don't even know if that in fact happened. Now listen, I know that the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI normally do not comment on things. They won't tell you the status of an investigation, or they won't tell you what they're going to do or not do. But just to find out, just yes, point blank, not even what the contents was, but is there an Agent Brian Monahan? And did Agent Brian Monahan email an email letter to Sproles saying, we're done? Did that happen? I don't know. But when Steve Brown or whoever, one of his producers, called the FBI field office in Indianapolis, they declined to comment about it. Weird. Additionally, Fox 59 saw an explanation from U.S. Attorney Zachary Myers why one jailhouse shooting of an inmate resulted in a federal charge while the other did not. A spokesperson replied, "The office does not confirm or deny the existence of investigations that do not result in an arrest or indictment." So that's like the perfect way to cover your ass, cover everybody's ass, and hide what's really going on. It's really, really funky. All right, let's listen to this.
Two inmates at the Henry County Jail were shot with rounds of so-called
Sorry, give me a second here. Let me try to get this. Come on, guys. Talk to me.
so-called less lethal ammunition.
Fox 59 Chief Investigator Steve Brown reports in one instance, criminal charges were filed, but not in another where the shooter was the sheriff.
What?
Two similar shootings inside the Henry County Jail, two very different outcomes. We start with a former Henry County Jail guard, Curtis Doty, 2 weeks ago, agreed to a plea deal. He'll plead guilty to a federal felony charge for shooting a jail inmate with a pepper ball round.
I had my hands up in surrender mode. Hey, I'm facing the wall, and I'm like this. He fires on my back.
Matthew Flick, while then still being held in the Henry County Jail, told us in February about being shot by guard Curtis Doty during a contraband search.
He was like, face the effing wall. He said, I'm facing the wall. And he shot me from this far from my back, directly behind me, standing above me. I still got the bruise on my back.
Doty's jail employment was terminated the following morning, and later he was charged with misdemeanor battery by the Henry County prosecutor. Then came the federal charge this month of deprivation of rights under color of law, which could result in prison time for Doty. Compare that to an incident in July of last year.
The sheriff's gonna bring a shotgun, and we're gonna beanbag him.
Jail inmate Marquette Neal spent 45 minutes frustrating jail officers by refusing to return to his cell. Finally, Neal agreed to enter a cell in the jail holding area, but then Neal began kicking the cell door and did not stop. Enter Sheriff John Sproles, wearing a helmet, carrying a beanbag shotgun, and issuing a warning to Neal.
You kick the door again and you're going to get some rounds, okay?
Neal did not stop, and the sheriff started firing. In just 36 seconds, the sheriff would fire a total of 4 rounds into the back of Neal's legs.
We'll go all day. You do it again, we'll go all day.
It was shocking, actually.
The sheriff in a March interview explained his actions this way.
We're telling him, stop kicking the door. I can't let him shatter his ankle or splinter his shin bone on that door, or we most certainly are going to get sued.
Put your hands out so we put cuffs on him.
The sheriff added he'd been cleared of wrongdoing. To prove it, Sproles shared an email, apparently from an agent with the Indianapolis FBI office, notifying the sheriff the U.S. Attorney's Office would not be pursuing federal charges. We contacted the local FBI office to confirm the email's authenticity. A spokesperson only offered no comment. So why federal charges in one jail shooting and not the other? We reached out to U.S. Attorney Zachary Myers, who makes those decisions. A spokesperson replied, we cannot confirm or deny the existence of an investigation. Steve Brown, Fox 59 News.
Hey, Steve, thank you.
There you go. You tell me, ladies and gentlemen. That's crazy, right? Like, why would that be happening? Yes, I do believe, sir, that you are correct. I do believe that he would put that on his business cards. I don't know. I think this is a freaky deal. I messaged Steve Brown earlier today, and I kind of talked. Hold on. Quit. All right, sorry. They started talking in my ear. I talked to him today and was like, hey, here's what I did on this. This is nuts. So I'm going to try to talk to him and see if maybe we can't try to tag team this, because I should have pulled it back up, but the spokesperson that responded back to him, his name is Christine, and I actually know her pretty kind of personally. I knew her from when I worked in the prosecutor's office, and I've dealt with her on several other things as it relates to the FBI investigation into Muncie. And we have a pretty good relationship. So I'm going to, now that I've saw that her name was on the email, I'm going to reach out to her and see if maybe we can't try to see if we can't try to figure something out. I don't know. It's very frustrating that they're just like, well, we can't tell you anything. There's nothing to tell you. We're not going to tell you. I really find that that is just shocking. And I hate that that's what they're doing. So, yeah, I'm going to reach out to Christine Bavender is her name. She works for the FBI, and I'm going to reach out to her now that I saw that. So keep your fingers crossed. We might be getting closer to getting some kind of news. I don't know. I will tell you, though, man, it was interesting to see that little clip of Sproles from that interview that we covered back in March. That's like the last big thing that Sproles has done. He's been on the no-fly list since then. I think that the powers that be in his life, which understand are not many, maybe his wife, maybe like parents, maybe like the attorneys for the sheriff's department, the attorneys for the insurance, I don't know, maybe they had an intervention and they were like, dude, you've got to stop talking. You are looking like a complete and total and utter jackass, and you are making everything so much worse. I don't know, because he's been very, very, very quiet since then. So, look, it's good. It's good because he's not screwing things up, or at least screwing big, big, big things up. I'm sure he's still screwing things up, but it's good for Henry County when he's not doing crazy things. Obviously, it's bad for the show. It's bad for, like, everybody likes a freak show, but you know what I mean. So, look, all we got to do is get through to 2026, and then we can work on sending him packing. So keep that in mind out there, you law enforcement members of Henry County, you Newcastle police officers, you other sheriff's deputies, other cops from other things, other law enforcement. We need a good Republican to run against him. We need a good Democrat to run against him. And we need to get it done, folks. I'd love to beat him in the primary and have it done so we don't even have to worry about it. I guarantee you he would be the worst lame duck. He would be so bitchy and so, like, just petulant and out of control. He would do like those old stories that you hear from, like, the White House staff when W was coming in. All of the Clinton staff tore all the W's off the typewriters because they couldn't write George W. Bush. They went through and tore all the W's off the typewriters. That's something Sproles would do. You know, he's like, all right, I took all the powder out, all the ammunition for all your deputies starting for the beginning of the year. You know, some shit like that. I could see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now done with that. And the last topic that we're going to cover tonight, because we got to cover it, is the last, at least for the time being, the last piece of information on this whole Larry Savage thing. I know that people are conflicted about this, right and wrong, good and bad. It became aware to me after last night's show that I did not mention this. I probably should have. I think I did in different ways, but maybe I didn't do it clear enough. I'm not condoning what he did. I'm not saying it was good what he did or you should do it. And I put it out on Twitter. I wrote it everywhere. All the people, that's been viewed. That video has been viewed. Last night's episode has been viewed a lot of times because of Twitter and the amount of people that are watching on Twitter, the various things. It's been viewed a lot. And most of those people that came in from the Twitter side, they saw that I flat out wrote, the decision that he made to take these was not smart. It was dumb. It was a dumb decision. Period. Now, I don't believe that he had any ill will. I don't believe that he was in some kind of conspiracy with, a conspiracy is two or more people taking steps, or at least one of them taking steps in furtherance of a crime. So if you and I plan to rob a bank together and then I get cold feet and I go home, but we've talked it out and you go through with it, I'm guilty of the conspiracy. Okay. I think that's what they were trying to do with Sean and Catherine, and that's just not factual. That being said, like, I don't think that he even by himself planned, like, I'm going to go here and I'm going to do this. I think he just reacted. He saw something and he reacted without thought of like what was going to happen to him if I do this. You know, what's this mean? What is this? You know, it is what it is. Okay. That being said, the fact that we went through systematically and showed you guys that they're doing all this stuff going after him, but yet they've never done anything to Russ about the Rob Joswiak situation. Just letting that just slide. They've never even had the hearing on the finance form complaint that Catherine filed. They've never even had that hearing. And all these other things that they drag their feet on. But yet, boom, bang, pow, they're at Larry's the night of with a search warrant. They're filing probable cause sheets. They're getting a warrant for his arrest. They're getting him charged before he goes in. I mean, folks, this was a well-oiled machine. You want to talk about a conspiracy? Let's talk about the conspiracy to make sure that we wreck a man's credibility based off of a dumb action that we can spin into a political crime. And that's what I feel like they did. That being said, today, ladies and gentlemen, I received the probable cause affidavit. Now, when I requested this from the clerk's office, so first off, I want to say I did not receive this from the clerk's office. So I filed a records request yesterday to the clerk's office, and they started that stuff telling me that the pages were going to be $1 each. No. They're 10 cents a copy, but they drug their feet, and I'm still waiting. I'm sure I'll still be waiting. Normally, you get probable cause sheets within about 12 hours, 24 hours at max, okay? And it's not like someone on here said, like, oh, they're hiding it. They're not going to release it. No. On here. Maybe, but you don't know his true intentions only. Yeah, no, I don't know his true intentions, but when I think here's the thing. Everyone's saying, well, we don't know his true intentions, so we're just going to apply the fact that he was doing bad. Well, let me ask you this. Why don't we say we don't know his true intentions, so they have to prove he was guilty? Not, we don't know his true intentions, so he's bad, and then if he can prove he's innocent, well, then that's what he can do. It's more like, or it should be, and God Almighty, I would hope it would be if any of you or me, it would more like, we don't know the intentions, so, all right, he's innocent until we're proven that he's guilty. He's guilty of theft. Theft is theft. The problem I have with that is if he walked into the clerk's office and there were papers lying around and some of them and you go in and you take papers out of the clerk's office and say, yes, I took these, but you didn't ask if you could take them. Is that theft? You know, when you're dealing a lot of times in government meetings and government things, is paperwork in there for the people to just come in and take. and they don't generally announce, hey, you can take this. It's just stuff that you learn over time. So when we say that theft is just flat out theft, I mean, do you apply that across the board, like all the way? So okay, let's say for the sake of argument, and I know that we're getting way off the point here, but your car breaks down and you're walking and it's 200 degrees, one of those summer days where it's like 100,000 degrees, and you're walking and you're out in the middle of nowhere and you don't have a phone and you can't get help, and you've been walking, and it's getting ready to get into a situation where like you haven't had water or whatever, and you walk up and there's 2 bottles of water sitting on someone's porch and no one's around, and you walk up and you take one of the bottles of water off the porch and you drink it to like keep yourself alive. Have you committed theft? Or, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you can't just say that because you've walked into a location and taken an object that it's always going to be considered theft. I think you have to look at it. Now, I will say that, okay, yes, now that we know that what this was, I think that there's an issue of that he's going to have to deal with. But with Tweety Bird saying, do intentions matter in the law? Absolutely. That's the basis of a lot of crimes, when they say knowingly or intentionally. Absolutely, intentions matter in the law. Absolutely, intentions matter. So when it says see, look, Kate already said at the same time. That's funny. When you knowingly or intentionally do something, it's basically kind of like my example I gave there. When someone breaks the threshold of a house to steal or to commit a felony, that's called burglary. If you break into a home just to break into it, that's called residential entry. However, if there's a tornado outside and you're stuck out in the middle of nowhere and you break into a house to take cover, you haven't committed burglary or residential entry with the intention to do anything nefarious. So intentions do matter. Absolutely. Absolutely, intentions matter. The problem I have is, so today they sent a source sent me the probable cause paperwork. Okay, now I want to tell you this. I wrote this out, and I'm going to show you this. We're not going to go through this, the probable cause, and the reason we're not going to go through it is because it's too fucking long. It's crazy. All right. If you want to see the probable cause, I will put a link to it in the description, and you can use that link to see it, or you can go to my Facebook page, or you can go to Twitter. I've posted it on Facebook. As soon as we're off of here, I will post it on Twitter. And as soon as I do that, I will then post it in the description of this YouTube and Rumble videos. Okay. So there are ways that you can see this, but I want to read this blurb, and then I want to talk to you about this PC sheet. Below, you will find 24 pictures. These pictures are all paperwork that make up 3 different groupings of a specific type of legal document. That legal document is called a probable cause affidavit, or in like the vernacular of law enforcement and prosecutors and criminal defense and courts, PC sheet or a PCA. I've never called it a PCA. I've always called it a PC sheet. But apparently everybody over in Madison County calls it a PCA. So I've always said, like, hey, I'm going to fill out the PC sheet, or, I'm going to go fill out the PC. It's probable cause affidavit. A probable cause affidavit is a document that law enforcement write and or type up in two different scenarios. The first scenario is when an arrest has been made without a warrant. All right. A good majority of the arrests that are made on a day-to-day basis are made without warrants. Well, how is that? Well, it's because the officer has probable cause that you've committed a crime, and based off that probable cause, they can arrest you. An officer sees two men fighting and sees one man punch the other one. He has probable cause that that man has committed battery. An officer gets called to a domestic violence situation, and horrible situation. The officer's getting there. They're getting called. A man and a woman is fighting. The man has a knife. The man goes. The officer gets to the house, and when he gets there, the man has stuck the knife in the woman's leg. Okay. The officer didn't see it, but because of everything going on there and because of the argument carrying on, the officer can build probable cause and have probable cause that the man did this and can take that guy to jail without warrant for this. Okay. OWIs, possession of drugs, all of this, theft, all sorts of things can happen in this first scenario. All right. An example of situation would be an officer pulls someone over for speeding. As I walk up to the car, I smell what I appear to be speeding is not a good example. Let's say I was behind you and you were weaving over the roadway and you crossed center line 2 or 3 times. You could be having a medical condition. You could be texting, could be falling asleep, or you could be drunk or drugged. I walk up and you roll your window down and I can smell the odor of what appears to be an alcoholic beverage. Now, I say that because maybe it's not an alcoholic beverage. Maybe you're having DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis. And so diabetics will produce a fruity smell sometimes when they're going into that. So it might be that. So it smells like what appears to be an alcoholic beverage. And I notice that your eyes are bloodshot. And I start talking to you, asking you questions. I get you out. I ask if you'll do the stupid human tricks. The 9-step walk and turn, the 3-leg stand, and horizontal gaze nystagmus, and you fail all of those tests miserably. Then I have you do a PBT test, which is not admissible in court, but it's just a tool, gives me more probable cause. I then read you implied consent, and we go and we do the data master, and I charge you with OWI. I have arrested you based on probable cause. When I take you to the jail, in order to book you into the jail, I have to fill out what's called a probable cause sheet. In that situation, a probable cause sheet's going to be 3 or 4 sentences, 6 sentences, a paragraph. It's going to be a page, maybe 2. Okay. If you're typing, it's going to be a page. If you're writing, it's going to be 2 pages. It's just what it is. It's not very long. All right. Another example is a bad guy kicks in your back door so he can go in and steal your TV and other valuables. A neighbor calls the cops. They get there to make contact with the bad guy. And then they get there, they arrest him, and they book him into jail for the preliminary charges of burglary and theft. That arrest, of course, was not made based off having a warrant. Rather, the officer had probable cause to make the arrest. The officer would fill out the probable cause affidavit when booking the suspect into jail. The other scenario is a probable cause affidavit can be filled out when an officer has probable cause that John Doe committed murder, or an officer has PC, probable cause, on Jane Doe that she has been committing theft and fraud while working as a loan officer at a bank. In these situations, the officers do not have John Doe or Jane Doe in custody. We don't maybe even know where they are at, but we know it's them, and we have probable cause that these people have done this. Okay. We can fill out after the investigation, whatever, when we have probable cause, we can fill out the PC sheet, submit it to the prosecuting attorney and to the court in hopes that charges will be filed, and based off of our probable cause sheet, a warrant will be issued for the arrest of the bad guy or the bad girl. Now, it's important to note at this point that the probable cause affidavits are not arrest reports. Understand this. They are not arrest reports. They are not the law enforcement officer's full statement or a supplemental statement. A PC sheet is not a full and complete, accurate accounting of the full investigation. All right. A very intelligent judge once told me that the best probable cause sheets in the world are the ones in which an officer succinctly lays out the issues at hand and gives a truthful accounting of what led the officer to having probable cause for an arrest without warrant if scenario 1 is at play, or lays out the probable cause that the officer has, thus is why they want the warrant if scenario 2 is in play. The arrest report then later on, or the officer's narrative and any supplemental reports, are where the officers lay out everything from start to finish of getting the call, getting the notes, getting the investigation, whatever, with as much factual, actual information as possible. Bottom line, most probable cause affidavits are a couple lines, maybe a paragraph. For 90% of arrests, PC sheets are a page, maybe 2. If you're dealing with a major crime like armed robbery or crimes of a sexual nature, say if we're dealing with the arrest of a drug dealer who's been a big target of a drug task force, and the arrest comes after months and months of work, buys from CIs, buys from undercovers, things like that, or if we're dealing with a murder, something a big crime. If we're talking about a major crime like that, well, then maybe there would be a probable cause sheet that would be 5 or 6 pages, maybe 10. I've seen a case where there's been a 10-page probable cause sheet before. I say all of this to point out how insane what you are about to see is. I want to make sure that you understand I'm saying this. And please understand, GW, I get where what you're saying. I get what you guys are saying. But please understand that I'm also not just talking as just some armchair folks, okay? When I'm talking about what I see from Larry, and understand I'm not coming to his rescue because we're some big bad buds that, you know, we've known each other and I'm sticking up for him. I have only talked to him maybe a total of 6 or 7 times, 8 times maybe in my life. And I've only met him within the last year. I'm getting to know this man, but I don't know him. I'm going to tell you what I'm basing this off of. I'm going to be very truthful. I'm basing this off what all cops have. John Sproles does not have this because he's not a cop. I'm going to tell you, I'm basing this off of something that all cops have, and it's a double-edged sword. It's good and bad. I am profiling him. Ooh, I said it. Oh my God. Cops profile people. We all do it. People all do it. And nurses know how to interact with the people that come into the hospitals. Mechanics know how to interact with the people that come in. People know what's going on with the banking world. In law enforcement, you can get a sense of knowing and understanding. And I'm just telling you, I can't tell you, and I'm no more necessarily right than you are, or that I'm not saying that you're wrong, and your opinion is definitely not wrong. Your opinion is whatever you want it to be, and I have no ill will towards that whatever. I'm just telling you from my training and experience. I'm just telling you I do not believe, and I would speak this. I would swear to this under oath. I would go out and say this. I fully believe that he did not have ill will or intention or criminal. There's 3 things that make up a crime. Mens rea, which is the mental thought, the mental act. Actus rea, which is the criminal act, and corpus delicti, which is the body of the crime. And I don't necessarily mean like necessarily a murder body. The body of a crime of theft would be that you stole items and money and jewelry. So you go back at your house, you've got the items and jewelry and money that don't belong to you. Actus rea of possession of cocaine would be having baggies and cocaine. actus rea, or excuse me, the corpus delicti. The corpus delicti of murder would be, the body of the murder, or it would be lots of blood and the person's missing and there's, like a knife and whatever. Okay. It's the body of the crime. It's showing that something happens there. In his case, you have the corpus delicti. The ballots were missing and the ballots were at his house. He said he took the ballots. He walked up and he gave the ballots to the cop. You have the actus rea. You have the act, the criminal act. He took it. Where the argument here is the mens rea. And that's just where I'm basing what I'm saying to you on my experience and my training and my understanding of as a law enforcement officer. I've not been a cop for a long time, but you don't lose that. Matter of fact, I think since I've left law enforcement and I've done what I've done here, I'll tell you the two biggest things that have helped me as a quote unquote law enforcement mind, as an investigative mind, was being a car salesman and diving further into politics with politicians and candidates. I've learned more about the criminal behavior in those two worlds. I would say that all cops should spend a year investigating politicians and should spend a year as a car salesman. Okay. I want to go back to this thing here. Okay. So I'm telling you all of this because I want you to understand how insane what you're getting ready to see is. We're getting ready to look at 16 pictures, 16 pages. Those 16 pages make up the probable cause affidavit that was typed up by Indiana State Police investigator David Preston on 10/28/24 for the arrest of Larry Savage. He was charged with one minor felony, removal and destruction of ballots. It's the level. I don't mean removal and destruction of ballots sounds horrible. And if someone's doing that purposefully to screw with an election or whatever, that's a very bad situation. It's nothing to joke with. It's bad. But in the grand scheme of things, a level 6 felony is a minor felony. It's not a level 1. It's not murder. Okay. From there, he was charged with misdemeanor theft. All right. So the first thing, the first thing we're going to look at is a 16-page. As soon as that doesn't do that to me, hold on. Let me get back to it. We're going to look at the 16 pages of this. I'm sorry if you guys have been commenting. I've been off screen. I will go back and look at your comments and hit those, but I've been off screen as I've been talking. I apologize. All right. Here's page 1. Okay. And I know it's hard for you guys to see. You can see this by going to the description later or going to my social media. So this is the affidavit. This is the initial part where it lists over his name and then it lists the background. All right. Madison County utilizes a ballot card system. Here's where we're outlining some of the law, yada, yada, yada. All right. Moving on. Page 2. Page 2 is like a full page of just writing. And I've highlighted here some of the points that stick in my mind as very interesting. As a law enforcement officer, as an investigator at the prosecutor's office, as someone that has helped defense attorneys, I would look at this stuff and say, this is interesting. How does the cop know this? What is this proving? Why is the cop telling us this? There's things. I used to teach people how to write reports. And one of those things that you'd be writing is how to write probable cause sheets. This is one of those things where there's a lot of these. I'm like, interesting. How do you know that? Why are you writing this? All right. So this is page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Okay. Page 5. Now, a couple of these pages are just a list, and I've done this in PC sheet, but I'm going to tell you, all this stuff up here, you don't need any of this. This does not prove, if this was in here, if this was not here, this would not take away from this case or from this PC sheet at all. And let me tell you something, folks. When I'm talking about being brief and brevity and succinct, you get from hearing me and talking to me and reading my writing, I am not that. I am the person that put every detail in, and I'm still saying this is massive, massive, massive overkill. Okay. They put in these pictures here, and they put this in. There's no real need for the pictures. You have the video. You don't need to show the judge. Like, this is just kind of strange. It's just over. I mean, and there's a reason for it. All right, we'll talk about that in a second. All right, we get here. They outline the search warrant thing here. Okay, this is standard, but you know, like he should have said all of this in these two lines. In these two paragraphs, he should have said all of this. He's really laying this out, okay? There are some serious issues in here. Like, for example, one of the ladies that interviewed in these additional interviews, all right? Sue is her name. Sue told information, gave false information. She said that he took a ballot that was sealed up, and basically, from what she's saying, is he unsealed that ballot. Look, if he had done something like that, I would maybe, at that point, we would be getting into like, wait a minute, why are you literally, he didn't go and break into anything to take something. There was all this paperwork around, and the same paperwork was at all these stations. It was total chaos. There was multiple copies of all of this. But she alleges that he took something that was sealed. He did not. He did not break a seal in any way. So that's a problem, okay, that she says that. All right, here's like this page. Okay, now we're second interview of Larry Savage. Page. Now, here's interesting. We get down here and we see this claim here. Claims of election interference. From here, from this highlight down, it's not even about Larry anymore. It's about Catherine Callahan. This is all about Catherine Callahan. This right here is so screwed up. It talks about this being a conversation between Catherine and Larry, and it's not. It is between Catherine sharing a post from Nicole. All right? Catherine and Nicole. So they're literally just bringing other random people into this and then attributing it to Larry. The other thing that was done here, and I've seen it done in all of the reports about this, is they keep talking about how Larry was there, Larry did this, Larry made some text messages to Catherine, and he posted on social media, and they make it seem like it all happened at the same time, and it didn't. It was stretched over the course of several hours. And what that does is it changes the context and what was said and how it was said and why it was said, because if you push it all together that way, it makes it look more suspicious. If you separate it out, it does not look as suspicious. So that's important to understand too. All right, we're still going on here. More. Now we're getting to the end. I think we're on page 15 here. All right. Yeah, here's page 16. Finally, we're here. Conclusion. Oh my God, we finally got here. Holy crap. All right. This is amazing. I'm amazed. This is 16 pages on this. All right. Now, we're going to look at the next probable cause sheet. It has nothing to do with Larry. Take Larry out of your mind. I want to show you this. This is really timely. This man right here, Devin Myers, is currently on trial for a triple murder here in Delaware County. It's literally going on as we speak. Maybe they wrapped up, but I know that they've been in trial this week. I know that they've been in trial this week. All right. Now, we're going to look at the next probable cause sheet. It has nothing to do with Larry. Take Larry out of your mind. I want to show you this. This is really timely. This man right here, Devin Myers is currently on trial for a triple murder here in Delaware County. It's literally going on as we speak. Maybe they wrapped up, but I know that they've been This was a triple murder that happened. We covered it here on the show. This was a triple murder that happened back in July of 2022. And we covered the probable cause sheet. Now, this cat is arrested with two counts of murder. Murder is not a felony. Murder is its own category. You have an infraction, which is a ticket. You then have a C misdemeanor, which is the lowest misdemeanor. You have a B misdemeanor and an A misdemeanor. Then used to, in the olden days, we had DCBA felonies. We don't have those anymore. Now you have level 6 felony, level 5 felony, 4 felony, 3 felony, 2 felony, 1 felony. And then you have murder, which is its own charge. So this guy was arrested with 2 counts of murder. Then he was arrested with he was charged with, he was arrested for and charged with 2 counts of murder. He was then charged with 2 counts of felony murder, which is a completely different charge. Murder is just me killing you. Felony murder is me killing you while in the commission of another felony. So, for example, if I kill John Doe, shoot him, bang, and that's all that happens, I'm going to be charged with murder. If I shoot John Doe, bang, and I shoot John Doe and I steal his watch, now I'm going to be charged with murder and felony murder. All right. So this guy's charged with 4 counts of murder, 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of felony murder. He's then charged with, and both of those are just the murder count. All right. Then he's charged with robbery resulting in serious bodily injury, level 1 felony, and criminal confinement while armed, level 3 felony. This dude was on the run for a while. It was a big ordeal. This was a big thing here in Muncie. This is the first page of his probable cause sheet. Here's the second page of his probable cause sheet. Here's the third page of his probable cause sheet. Here's the fourth page, the fifth page. And so basically it's like 5 pages and then the signature page. His page was 5 pages long, his detailed information. But yet what Larry's done needs another 11 pages. Needs another 11 pages. I'll get to that in a minute. Here's the next one. This is a biggie. All right, look at this guy. This is John L. Vance. If you don't recognize the name, this guy was involved in the mass shooting in Muncie that occurred on July. All these things are happening in July. That occurred in July 30th of 2023. This was the big party down at Hackley and Willard when they were shooting. 1 person died, 17 people got shot, 1 person got ran over. It was total pandemonium. I went down there and was at the scene probably 20 minutes after it happened. It was insane. Went to the hospital. There were riots at the hospital. It was insane. This guy was charged with aggravated battery level 3, aggravated battery level 3, possession of a firearm by a serious violent felon level 4, and then criminal recklessness level 5. And then he was hit up with a habitual offender as well. This was a freaking mass shooting in Muncie. Here's his first page. And here's his second page. That's it. All right. Now we're back to Larry. This cat only needed 2 pages, but for some reason, Larry needed an additional 14 pages. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why right now. In investigations, when an investigation is going on, a criminal investigation is going on, the investigative reports are not releasable to the public. They're not releasable to the media. Christopher Bilbrey's not going to get them. Steve Brown's not going to get them. Rob Kendall's not going to get them. And Anderson Cooper's not going to get them. Fox News, no one's going to get them. You're not going to get investigative records when there is a criminal investigation going on. But What you can get is the probable cause sheet. And if you lay out all this shit in the probable cause sheet, you can, my friends, do exactly what Kamala Harris said. With a stroke of the pen, I can arrest someone, I can book them, I can give their fingerprints, I can take a mugshot. They can have to reach into their pocket to pay bail, reach into their pocket to pay for a defense attorney. I can ruin their character, their credibility. I can take their jobs. I can cause them divorce. They'll lose their kids. They'll lose their house. And in 2 weeks, with a stroke of a pen, I can undo all of my actions. But this person's still trashed. That bell's still rung. I'm telling you, I'd like to bet any of you, I will bet you, this man will not be found guilty of this felony. Very high likelihood that the felony gets dismissed. Very high likelihood that the felony gets dismissed. I'm saying that right now. The felony is going away. He's going to fight, I would assume, all of it. And anyone charged with a crime should fight it. That's your right as an American. You're innocent until proven guilty. But I would be even pretty willing to bet that the felony gets dismissed. I just don't think that they can fit it. I don't think it fits. But we've been able to ruin his life. We've been able to make him a crazy, mad MAGA person out here doing all kinds of chaos and ruining elections so we can blame it on the stupid Democrats. And now look what we've done. So the other weird thing is how they tied Catherine into it and all the shit and making claims that Catherine was saying. They even got everything they said about Catherine was wrong. And I'm friends with Catherine. I've known Catherine. I've met her. I've known her longer than Larry. So I don't want anything bad to happen to her. But if she did something stupid or did something wrong, send her down the river. If I do something stupid or do something wrong, send me down the river. You know what I mean? It is what it is. What happens to the ballots after the test is ran, Tweety Bird? Did anyone answer that? I'll tell you what's supposed to happen. What's supposed to happen is they're supposed to be sealed somewhere. Now, there's some serious question on whether or not Madison County does that. We don't really know what they're doing. We're trying to find that. So, let me see what starred. Okay, nothing major. Is there anything? We're getting ready to get out of here, folks. No, I'm sure Rob Kendall could get them. I love it. Okay. Oh, Space Cat. I forget who you are. Happy Halloween. I don't know if you're who I think you are or if you're someone else, and I forget, and I don't know, but whoever you are, if you think if you are who I think you are, you'll probably want to watch the beginning of the show if you just got here. So, that's that. Looking here at the comments. No, GW, you're fine. Question everything. Devil's advocate. I get it. I understand. I'm okay with that. I'm not mad at you for having that opinion. And I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't want to do this if you all came on here licking my ass and just telling me it was great and everything was wonderful. I would not want to do this. Would not be fun. I'm okay with that. I'm okay. Push back harder, push whatever. I'm cool with that. It's good for Larry. It's good for politicians. You know, we have to be able, if I can't defend myself against people that, or defend what I'm saying against people that normally like me, how the hell do you think I'm going to be able to go out and fight the real bad guys? So, you know, I'm not one of these candidates that says, oh no, I can't go to that debate. It's being put on by the opposite party. I'm like, what? You mean you can't go stand in a room and hold on to your beliefs and argue for what you believe in against the other side? Then you're not the candidate for me. You don't have any business in office. So I take no offense here whatsoever. We just need to put that up as a constant banner. Do not ever worry about that. Speak out against me or what I'm saying or anyone else anytime. You're not going to get banned for being here. You're not going to get... yeah, Space Cat. I know who you are. GW though, but that, you know what? First of all, I don't control the chat. You freaks in the chat are you freaks. I can't. We don't ban people. The only people that we ban are well, most of you know who we ban. We ban bots. And if someone's coming in here and speaking just wildly, like aggressively, like sexual or trying to get us in trouble because of terms of service, that's the only thing that we ban. No one is going to get banned in here because you hold a different belief. Now, I can't stop what you guys do to each other. I can't stop what you guys do. I can't stop what you guys do to each other, first off. And so you guys can ban each other or do whatever you want. I have no control over that. That's that. Number two, saying, okay, all right. Number two, when we're doing this, my hands are here. My hand is here on this mouse pulling up on the screen. I would say I maybe put a comment or two up on a screen an episode. Most times I don't. Kate's job here, first and foremost, number one, is to like be doing research and helping me, like when I'm saying shit, she's looking for other stuff and doing that. That's her main job. The comments are the second job. And I'll be honest, please, no one get offended by this. I love what you guys say, and I love being interactive, and I read what you say, and I work off what you say. I hate putting the comments up on the screen. I hate that. I hate that that's an option. I wish that it wasn't an option, and I will say why. Number one, because I would love for one time for every single one of you to come in here and be a part of this, like when you do a show, and watch how crazy it is. Watch how crazy it is for us to like pay attention to each other and to be researching and to be looking up other stuff. And Kate's putting on my pictures, and specifically when Catherine's on, because when Catherine is on, Catherine's like barking out, you know, like, hey, put this up, put this up, put this up, put this up. She comes in with her whole host of shit. So it's always crazy hectic when Catherine is on. And Kate is doing like double time because she's got my nonsense and Catherine's nonsense. So I love the interaction, and I would interact with you guys always on the side and talk to you, whatever. But putting the comments up on the screen is something that an old partner of ours used to do when he ran a show. And when we partnered up with him, we just kind of started doing it. And it's fun and I like it. The reason I say I don't like it is because I'm talking about lots of different things.
It's because you like to talk.
Yeah.
And because you like to interact.
Yeah.
And so you end up getting distracted and off topic.
Well, that's my
biggest issue with it.
That is,
I do try to get people's comments up. I really do. And if you feel like I'm not putting them up, I promise it's not because I'm trying to like.
Yeah. No one. We're not. Yeah. We're not banning content
off screen because.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is there are times where
I'm
and
doing
you guys don't know
things
this,
at once, and I apologize.
that she's up. She's not even up. She like sometimes I'll be like, Kate, can you do this? And then I look down and she's not even there. So please do not feel like no one is ever going to be banned here, and no one is ever punished. We don't put people up. Kate's favorite time is when people disagree with me, when people's giving me a hard time. So please don't ever think that. And UGW people, you know that I like you. There's no issue. I swear to God. So do absolutely everything that you do, that you continue doing. Don't stop doing it. Do not stop doing it. Please. I promise you. Listen, I'm going to tell you, GW. I actually enjoy when you're not here. I don't even know. Are you still here? Are you not here anymore? Am I talking to you and you're not here? I'll be honest. I've told Kate there have been times like you've said stuff when I've been saying stuff, and you just keep pushing, you keep pushing, and I'm like, like it's I like it because not a lot of other people do that. So I love it. It seemed very one-sided last night, and the comments could have been tougher. What do you mean the comments could have been tougher? The comments from who? From like other people like other commenters? The questions. Oh, well, so let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. You mean the questions to Larry? You mean the questions to Larry? I'll say this. The reason the questions that were asked of Larry were asked is because I knew what he would not say. We were lucky to have him on to be able to say what he said, because his attorney did not want that. I think he answered that. I think he answered that in a roundabout way.
He tiptoed around it, but he never really said.
Okay. I mean, if I'll put
that
it
was my impression anyway. I didn't feel like there was an answer to that question.
If you go and you look at the,
that would be the one thing that I would not ever answer. because right now his greatest strength in fighting this is intent.
Yeah, right.
So answering that question could potentially be dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure, absolutely. But
So,
I will tell you,
but I never felt like there was an answer to the question.
I've heard him answer it. And when I say that, I mean, it's something that you guys can all hear too. He said it during the search warrant. He answered that question to the cops. If he didn't say it last night, if he like tiptoed around it, then he gave an answer to the cops.
The question, Catherine, why did you take
Why
them?
did you take it? Why did you take the ballots? You know, that's the question that GW is asking. And so
he Kamala Harris'd it.
Yeah. Let's see here. I can play that clip real quick before we go. It's I mean, I'm good to go. It's all you people.
Good luck finding it.
I know where it's
10
at.
minutes.
I got it right here.
Is that last night was a little weird. So I'm sorry that you felt left out, GW. I was not trying to make anyone feel left out.
When Catherine is here, it's
not just the show going on, especially with Catherine here. It's not just the show going on, it's the chat. And the chat has another 8 people in it who are also bombarding. And so I'm trying to check both. So because sometimes there's important shit that comes up in that chat. And I'm like, oh crap.
Right.
You know, so I have to pay attention to both that. And I don't know what it is about Halloween time of year, but my phone was ringing last night during the show too, with people looking for the Blackford County Jail.
Oh yeah.
Smiling on. It's my life. So
that's hilarious.
It was a bit rough last night. So
but
anybody to feel left out. But
what you were saying, the chat, I mean, for people that think like the chat is the thing on the side, but then we also have like people that like, there are you guys that message
privately, Facebook, and then also text messages as well. So it really gets a little crazy.
All right.
It's a show on steroids. That's pretty much it.
Catherine, can you send it to me? Where is the search warrant? I'm looking for when they served the search warrant, when Larry was at his house. I think this might be it. Here we go. Oh, that is absolutely not it. If anybody out there can send it to me.
I think Catherine is getting it for you right now.
Okay. Damn it. Okay, right here. I got it. All right, here we go. I saw that. Kid Rock and Tim, all of you freaks. I'm gonna play this here because, and hey, maybe I'm wrong, but I think he says it here. This is only 2 minutes, and then we'll get out of here. And while I'm setting this up to play here, GW said the unwavering support. It kind of felt like a card out of the Democrat book. Listen, I can't speak for everybody else. I said if something comes out that I don't know, and he did something nefarious, I'll call him on it. The reason I'm at the point giving unwavering support is because I believe I have, conviction in my belief. And if I don't have conviction in my, when I'm talking on something, everything I'm talking on, I am giving unwavering thought and belief in that, or else I'm not going to be talking on it. So that's coming from me. As far as everybody else, I can't argue for everybody else, but that's just me.
Used
all right, here we go.
For the process in the voting process, right? Those ballots are sealed. Well, it depends on what you. I know, but I'm just saying it depends on your definition of real ballot.
They weren't sealed.
They were real ballots. Again, that depends on what you.
See me talking to a lady in that video?
Not when you took them.
Yeah, I asked her if they're real ballots, and she said no, they're simple ballots. So when she took it, I rolled one up, put it in my pocket, and took one of the big ones, rolled up, put it in my pocket. I didn't know that we couldn't take the damn thing. They even say sample. Okay. And I was late to the meeting, so if they said something at the meeting before I started, I don't know. Because I showed up about 10 minutes late. Linda stands up, she says, "Come on, Larry, you can come down and test them." I know Linda. Okay, I know all these.
We're never going to have all the facts.
So whatever kind of bullshit they're trying to play right now, that's bullshit. Okay. But I do have it. I do have them.
Okay. But so the Madison County, so you're hereby authorized to come in and search the name of the state of Indiana and search for a seized foreign property. Madison County ballots used for testing, voting equipment, any and also devices going to or on the person of Larry L. Savage. The warrant is to include the search of any and all other devices located for their content. The warrant may be executed in daytime or nighttime. The court hereby specifically determines that there exists probable cause to believe that the items to be seized are located at the location therein above described on the basis of such determination. Sworn testimony, Detective Dave Preston, which is me, heard by this court by the affidavit made of record and said court incorporated a reference herein.
And they're coming after us patriots, man. They don't want us to be American. Okay.
This is going to be your copy of the warrant.
Okay. Am I going to jail? Or do I need to call an attorney?
Here's what I want to do. I want to make sure the house secure. So I've got a search warrant to search your house. Okay. So I just want to make everything secure, but I don't want your dogs getting out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't want your dogs getting out.
And a couple of them bite, so I'd rather have them put out bad. I mean, I'm a square dude. I was a correctional officer forever.
Right.
So I am not gonna fuck with you guys. You can do whatever you want to do, but I'm just telling you that those were sample ballots that they sample on them, and I asked the lady if they were sample ballots. I didn't.
Damn it. Okay, that's where that one ends. Okay. And then, okay, here's the other. And this is sideways, but it is what it is. We can still hear.
Up till
No, I didn't watch
Hours
the video.
later.
Yeah, I don't provision anything.
But the lady did tell me they were sample ballots, and I looked at them, rolled them, put them in the pocket. I didn't know you could take them.
Man, you're evil.
I'm the bad guy.
You're horrible.
But I didn't
Look
know
at your
that they
shirt.
actually counted for anything. Yeah, that shit don't matter no more.
It's a problem.
It doesn't matter.
I know.
Yeah, let's go. Let's take a look in the car.
Can you please look for that?
Am
No,
I
no.
allowed to go out and video?
Yeah.
Okay. If you'll just look around, you know what ballots look like? You know, the long piece of paper. Thank you, guys.
Hey,
Sorry, he's such a horrible person.
Coming behind you, Dave. Yeah.
Molly girl. You're a good girl.
I'm sure this will make the newspaper.
That's the longest walk to the backyard I've ever seen.
Right there. Yeah, I'm just back to him now. I thought I was pulling out handcuffs. So.
No.
Guys.
I can't go to jail over here because I worked in this jail for a while. So you gotta take that. America, guys. America. I mean, all I can tell you is we're losing it. It ain't these guys' fault. They're being put up to this. So, we're gonna fight, though. We're gonna fucking fight.
Our
I'm sick of
wonderful
this
elected
shit.
officials are terrified.
Our elected officials are terrified of us. They're all terrified of us. The shit that we're going to uncover is unbelievable, and I've got a bunch that's going to definitely come out now. I'm going to save it. But they're fucking with the wrong guy now. The coolest parts on the phone.
Dude, this is like seriously.
Oh shit, that's enough.
I mean, this is like overkill on the pictures, dude.
Congressmen, phone numbers, state senators, lieutenant governors, phone. So that phone, please don't let that out of your sight. You're doing all right, man.
Fine.
You guys are starting a little younger and younger every time.
I'm in my 30s, so hopefully it pays me dividends when I get up in my 40s and 50s.
Man, the state's a really good place to retire from. 27 years. So.
Okay. Or CIF or IR?
IR.
Okay.
Yeah, it was actually called IR back in the day.
Good Lord.
I've had cops come in there and just go, ain't no way. I don't know how y'all do this. That's weapons. OC. So.
Yeah, dude. I've been in there before. I took a tour of it when I was younger.
Yeah.
And man, it's crazy.
My son went in. I got him a job out there, an interview. He said, walking up, it was like going into hell, the screams and the stuff you can hear walking in there. I said, that's all day long, man. You get used to it, unfortunately. It's too bad.
Find out till
no, I didn't watch
hours
the video.
later.
Yeah,
I guess this is what I was thinking about right here. Listen.
I looked at them, rolled them, put them in the pocket. I didn't know you could take them.
Man, you're evil.
I'm the bad guy.
You're horrible.
But I didn't
Look
know
at your
that they
shirt.
actually counted for anything. Yeah, that shit don't matter no more.
It's a problem.
It doesn't matter.
I know.
So, all right, yeah. In fairness, unless he's not said it someplace else. In fairness, some people don't understand the right to remain silent. He should not have ever said that. Ever said what part? What ever should not have ever said what? What's the intent? Wait a minute. I'm missing what you're saying because I've been off screen. I've been watching this. What are you guys saying is the intent? Is malice towards the government? Don't we all have malice towards the government? So time will be time. But do we like what? Blowing people up or I don't. I mean, I mean, I don't know. I still don't. I just don't see that as. I see someone who got mouthy after doing something dumb they shouldn't have done, and then realizing like, oh shit, this is now it's a problem, and then getting pissed because of everything that's happened. But I mean, I wouldn't think that that's any more. I wouldn't say I have malice towards the government. I have malice towards corrupt people, or whatever. But I wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, because I wouldn't have taken them, but I don't know. Time will tell. Time will tell. We'll have to see. I mean, we're not ever good. This is going to be like every other criminal action that happens. We're not ever going to have 100% of the puzzle pieces. We might get 70, 75, 80. I mean, we'll have enough to put a picture together at the end of it. And we should be able to tell that it's the bears in the woods. But there's always my side, your side, and the real side too. So time will tell that it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, being mouthy is not a crime. Maybe he did just take them thinking he could. And that's the thing. I don't know. I've walked into a lot of government buildings, a lot of government meetings, and taken things like that, pieces of paper and things, and not thought a thing about it. And I mean, I would hate to think that they would be like, wait a minute, I'm trying to think if something like that has ever happened. Maybe like when went to go get records or something like that before. I'm just trying to think if there's ever been something where there's been like a misunderstanding. And in my mind, I keep coming back to something with the Randolph County clerks, but I can't think of what that is. I'll try to think about it. I'll try to see what happens. But all right, guys, thank you. I didn't know that this was going to be another 3-hour show. I didn't plan on that, but thank you all very much for watching and listening and being here. Another great show as always. Thank you. We covered a lot. Tomorrow, what is tomorrow? Tomorrow's Friday. What are we talking about? Someone said racial slurs towards a cop, got years for that. I would like to see that. I don't think that you can get years for saying a racial slur. I don't think there's nothing criminal about being an idiot. Send me the information on that. I'd like to see what happened. If you know the information on that, send that to me, because that Yeah, send that to me. All right, folks, we will be back here tomorrow. Send that to me, GW, and I will correct the record if you get that sent to me. I will look. All right, guys. Thank you. Hey, hit the like unless you hit the like if you like, unless you don't, and then screw you. Take care. God bless. Have a good evening, and we will see you back here tomorrow at 9 p.m. I think Scary Mary's going to join us, so we'll let you know. See you guys, and take care. Good night. Goodbye.